Hey gents, for today's video, we're going to be talking about the harsh reality of the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule is something that many people are familiar with. It states that 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. If you want to be in that 20%, then you'll have women coming after you. Back in my high school days in my early 20s, this is what I faced. Women just hanging around next to me in my classrooms, or making themselves available while I was working. It was easy to be part of the 20% of desirable males back then. All you had to do was dress in a stylish way, look cute, and not make a fool of yourself. If you had a vehicle, even if you bought it from your dad, you were pretty much set. When I got into my last long-term relationship, things had changed a lot. I'd stopped working out for about 10 years and wasn't as stylish or cute as I used to be. Plus, women were now chasing men with a lot of money and security. It was clear I'd lost my rank at 20, and that pursuing a long-term relationship was out of the question. So I had to find another way to use my time. The 80-20 rule is nothing more than male competition to have access to females to reproduce. Most women are on birth control and use condoms. That means your efforts to pass on your genes are pretty much wasted. You might get to have a lot of sex, but you also risk getting falsely accused of abuse, getting a sexually transmitted disease, or dealing with emotional stress. It's just not worth it. Once you realize this, you can focus on living your own life and let other guys take care of the temptation that modern women pose. The majority of those out there have never been in a group of desirable males, and you assume that this is a good thing. But what you do not understand is that just because girls are attracted to you does not mean the girls you want in your life are actually coming up to you and trying to get your attention. For some unknown reason, the most attractive women target the best-looking guys. They probably figure that they have nothing to lose. So they make a move. And if you are an upper-tier man, you are constantly having to turn down nasty women. Just when you think you have gotten rid of one, another 3 or 4 of them creep in. They might be fat, or they might have a face that only a mother could love after basically throwing them down the stairs as an infant. The women that you actually don't want to date will approach you at work as well. They expect to be flattered and entertained, regardless of the social standing of the male. The 80-20 rule is a well-known principle when it comes to dating and relationships. According to experts, you only need to find 20% of what you're looking for in a partner. So if you look at the average high school or college campus, you'll see that 20% of males are having sex with around 80% of the females. This comes from something called the Pareto principle, which states that 20% of the causes create 80% of the effects. This means that in order for society to be sustainable over a long period of time, the majority of males need to be getting constantly laid. This creates a situation where the men are in each other's throats trying to get female attention and sex, which is no longer a competition thanks to sexual communism. In other words, every single man is guaranteed access to reproduction if he gets married. The pre-civilization mating game was largely, and unfairly, dominated by a small percentage of men. By abolishing the marriage contract and social conventions that perpetuated this inequality, we can move closer to an egalitarian society. As women enter their 20s and leave college, they bring with them the same habits of chasing alpha males. This can be scary, as it can create a lot of angry and bitter men in our society. However, eventually most of these lonely men will come to accept their fate and live life for themselves. However, that will mean the birth rates will continue to decline and civilization will eventually destabilize. Unless, of course, we come up with some new technological solutions, because most women will never choose to naturally pair up with a man who isn't their intellectual or financial equal. In a state of nature before either agriculture or industrialization, having a majority of women mate with the highest quality males ensured the survival of our species. But in the service economy, it stops being important. In today's service-based economy, women's animal spirits are free to run wild. And the best way to motivate women to serve coffee and work as teachers is basically to give them a carrot of the alpha male right in front of them. But soon enough, automation will take away the service jobs as well. So societies will have to find a better way to motivate people for whatever sexual reality is yet to come. Our social and sexual norms are based on the types of labor our rulers and industrial capitalists have required. I believe that there will be no attempts to prevent 80% of women from chasing 20% of men in the foreseeable future. When it comes to reproduction, women often prioritize quality over quantity. In contrast, men often seek quantity over quality. This is likely due to our DNA. Unless we impose laws that favor women, since they make up the majority of voters, laws are likely to always favor women. Pornography has actually become more popular because of the falling sex ratios between men and women. After all, if the majority of men are considered sexually retarded or undesirable by women, then their only alternative might be to watch pornography. Women often complain about pornography, but their natural desire to seek out the best men could be the real reason for its proliferation. The hookup culture, where people have sex outside of relationships, is a liberating way to express your sexuality. Most women expect guys to be hot and horny, and most top guys expect women to be slots. It's the men that have basically been pushed out of the sexual marketplace in recent decades who are the biggest losers in this new sexual marketplace dystopia. At this point, it's a race between automation and the true force, loneliness, males. If technology can replace these males and make them obsolete, then what are they supposed to do with their lives? I've spoken before about automation taking away jobs, but work is not the main motivation for most people. Instead, access to reproduction is, and sex is the main driving force behind all of society. So long as women can have sex with whoever they want, they will continue to work and pay their taxes and collect as many government benefits as they can and eventually bankrupt the system. If machines can do most human jobs, that will be the main force driving humans forward. Without the incentive of sex, most women become lazy and soft. Women don't want these types of men. When women don't have a man to provide for them at home, they have to get jobs themselves. They become educated, and when they become too smart, they become a pain to deal with. They also seek out highly educated men, who are becoming increasingly rare. If I could re-engineer the human species, I would give women the same sexual drives as men. I would also make them less picky in their mate selection, and give them the mental faculties and emotional abilities of men. This would give us a more true sense of equality and would force women to seek out sex for men instead of just resources. It would make everyone happier if we lowered women's standards biologically, but that's just a pipe dream. It's more likely that sexual androids and other male sexual outlets will keep men sedated once the job losses begin to mount due to automation. Women, on the other hand, will still seek out male attention, but it will be hard to find because most men won't deal with women. Some people think that the 80-20 rule means that 80% of women are looking for 20% of men, but in the future, this might change. 100% of women might start looking for only 2% of men, leaving many men without any women to date. This has actually been seen in Japan with host bars and male hosts getting paid for their services. There will be a shortage of men who are willing to give women free attention and resources. That's all for today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It motivates me to create more content for you. See you next time. Cheers.